Hey lovely people, it's Virginia with Satsuma Diaries. Thank you for tuning in to this video. I have a quick meditation and intuition development hack as usual. Maybe you're onto this one, maybe this is a new concept for you, I don't know, but I think it's good for us to review this stuff every once in a while, no matter where we are on the path. So the thing I wanted to share today is that one of the biggest keys to intuition development and spiritual development in general is your willingness to do shadow work, to face the parts of yourself that feel unlovable, that feel unworthy, the parts of yourself that you may have disowned, the parts of you that you hide away because you feel like they're a little, I don't know, like less lovable or kind of ugly or whatever. This is conditional love, right? This is a block to unconditional love, which is higher divine truth. All spiritual development is all about getting in alignment with divine truth, which is unconditional love and unity. And it's kind of unconditional love and unity and belonging all kind of feed into each other. And our blocks to these truths are what we need to shed in order to inherit the gifts of spiritual sight and, clairaudience or claircognizance or healing or precognition, whatever gifts are in your path. They only come when you can run a lot of higher dimensional energy, love, through your system. And that energy can't flow properly if you're holding a bunch of blocks in your system. Those blocks are thought forms and emotions where your wounding is, where you feel unloved, where you're still unforgiving of either yourself or someone else. So I hope you're getting where I'm going with this. It's a big part of the work. So if you're kind of in meditation and spiritual workshops and you're exploring clairvoyance and like hands-on healing and stuff, just know that all of this is good to learn about, but it's directly your inheritance of your spiritual gifts, or what the Eastern traditions call siddhis. It's all directly related to your willingness to know thyself, which is an old Hermetic adage for a reason. It's the key, right? So a couple of things to know on the path is you don't have to chase your shadow work. I see a lot of people just like going into shadow work like on purpose and sort of proactively, and that's not always the best method. It's not especially gentle, first of all, and second, especially because like we're talking about wounds, like deep inner child wounds, and like this really subtle work. And instead of like chasing it, you could let spirit bring it around to you in an organic cycle of healing and growth. That's sort of how the universal intelligence works with our growth. Is our shadow will circle around into our awareness when our conscious mind is actually away. So in dream time, make sure you're recording your dreams. And in meditation, if you don't already have a daily meditation practice, check out my other video where I talk about how to build one. But yeah, it'll come around when your conscious mind is away, which is the judging, analytical, critical mind, which is the one that says you're not good enough, blah, blah, blah. So when that's away, spirit can bring these truths to you, these faces of shadow to you for healing, for processing, so that you see and accept and release these wounds. A couple of things to know about shadow work is, while you don't go chase it, you want to make sure that when it comes around, your resource to process shadow, which means like it's kind of like when you get sick with a cold and you take off work and you make sure that you get enough fluids and you get a lot of rest and you take good care of yourself to repair. When you're in shadow cycles, you want to do the same thing. You want to have a protocol that is very nurturing for yourself. So make sure that you're have a good journaling practice or a good creative outlet so you can process some things that are coming up, whatever that is. It may be pain from your childhood. It could be pain from your adulthood. It could be even pain from your ancestral line, intergenerational trauma. Could be from past lives, parallel lives. there's really no limit to it. It just depends on what your curriculum is. But make sure that you're ready for it, and that you have like therapeutic outlets to process your pain. Make sure you have access to nature. Make sure that you take your media consumption down, especially like the collective pain body, like journalism in war areas and police stories and just crime and that kind of stuff. It's not good to really take in those stories when you're in your shadow. And just take a break. I'm not saying don't ever watch the news or whatever, but like when you're taking care of yourself, it's almost like you're sick, you're on a sick bed. So be sure to be really careful with what you consume. And I just want to take one more minute to talk about ways that we can avoid shadow work, ways that we numb out or we avoid or we run from shadow or truth. And I'm guilty of this as much as anyone. I know there was a time in my life where I remember when I was first getting into meditation, I felt the intelligence of source was very close, and I felt that social anxiety feeling where it was like I feel like very seen right now and almost like exposed, and there was this real temptation to like look away and avoid eye contact. And that's kind of what this feels like. There's a reticence to face truth and to take responsibility. And of course, God and Source will, and your guides, they'll show you all the things that make you beautiful. But you'll also, in this work, you'll be shown places in your life or in your being where you are not in alignment with love, and you'll be asked to release these things. And the only way to be able to release them and make more room for spirit and these spiritual gifts that we're talking about is to see them and to make eye contact when they come around, right? So here are the ways that you might avoid. You could, get wrapped up in any form of addiction, which the list is endless, but like love addiction, like getting in too many, romantic relationships over and over and over, and there's no time for you, there's no time for solitude, no time for contemplation. You could be overly socially busy, which was definitely one I was guilty of. Anytime I felt really uncomfortable, I would immediately get with my friends, and there would be no real bandwidth for solitary processing. It was a form of, running, honestly, in my life, but I didn't see it that way at the time. It's very subconscious, these avoidance strategies. Which ones are you experiencing? There's spiritual bypassing, which I know well, where you hang out in the blissful emotions and avoid the more painful or ugly emotions. And don't do that, because actually there's a lot of good information about yourself and your negative emotions. They're kind of trying to show you where your thoughts are not serving you, where you're not in alignment with unconditional love and truth. And you can run with intoxicants. You can run away from truth with, like drinking or smoking or like overindulging in plant medicines. Not that is always off limits, but there's a temptation to overdo it. And yeah, you can get addicted to like TV and social media, as we know. And just make sure, and eating too, just make sure that you're not numbing out. It really does require rest and stillness to see shadow, to process deeply, to be present and pay attention to shadow, to pay attention to truth. And that is why meditation is a really fruitful space for this work. It's why it can come forward, because everything, all the architecture of daily life and mundane life is offline, and this inner life can come online. So this is just a reminder to you that if you are seeking intuition development and spiritual development, the work is never over, but you will go so far if you can embrace willingly this dance with the shadow, this dance with healing. Spiritual development and intuition development is a healing path. It's about knowing yourself and healing yourself. So I hope that helps. If this video was helpful for you, I would love for you to like or subscribe, because it helps my channel. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next